Alright guys, I'm Justin.
I'm Carl.
And I am Eric.
And on today's episode we're going to go through Halloween watches that are not Halloween, not Michael Myers, not your big run-of-the-mill blockbuster titles for everyone to watch. These are some we've pulled out of our collection that we watch every Halloween. So grab you a snack and join us for episode 7 of Welcome to Horrorland.
Whoa, welcome to Horrorland.
Alright guys, so today's episode, as I said before, these are just going to be titles that we watch on Halloween. All kinds of things that don't include Michael Myers, because that seems to be what everyone seems to watch. These are some titles that kind of get you away from that. We've got some clean titles in here that you can also watch together as the family when you've got kids all hyped up on candy, but you're not ready to put them to bed just yet. So, Mr. Eric, why don't you go ahead and start us off down there?
Absolutely, I can do that. I'm going to kind of point these out to you as we go along. My clean titles versus those that you probably want to put them to bed first. And my first clean title is Dark Night of the Scarecrow. It was in 1981. Fantastic movie. It was a made-for-TV movie. Really well done all the way around. It was the first movie to really, after The Exorcist, it's right after that, boy, I got hit with Dark Night of the Scarecrow. And between the two of them, it traumatized me for a good long while, that's for sure. I know you two have seen it.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic movie.
Definitely one that kids of this age, if they watch it, it definitely has a good story to it. Something, they don't make movies like that anymore with that deep embedded moral in it. And you wouldn't think that a moral would be embedded in a horror film, but man, that is a great one. Young Larry Drake, it's a great film.
Yeah.
Morality story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see, I'm going to go first with Halloween 3. Love it. People pan it all the time because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. It's not about the franchise. It should have been called Season of the Witch, and I think it would have done much better. Tom Atkins, I thought, did a great job. Dick Warlock in so many different roles in the movie.
Tom Atkins is the man.
He is the man.
The man amongst men.
That's it.
But anyway.
And Stacey Nelkin didn't hurt anything either.
No. There was some questionable morals in that movie, I can tell you that much.
I'm all about questionable morals.
If you look at that movie, I mean, you think of it, Tom Atkins is supposed to be the good guy, but I mean, like, he's having an extramarital affair.
Well, he wasn't married anymore. They were divorced.
Yeah, but they were still on the phone talking and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. You take that ring off and put that paper down. Game on. Anyway.
I'm just going to say it's a little bit, I don't know.
Oh, this is not kid-friendly. None of mine will be kid-friendly. I don't have children.
Yeah. I figured that out from the first worm that walked and run out of a kid's nose.
Could be.
My first title here will be Dead and Buried. Now, I actually have physical copies instead of a note. We are filming this in my media room, so therefore I have all my collection here. These guys have to travel to film these with us. But anyways, my first one is Dead and Buried. Absolutely fantastic film. That is a movie that when I watched it the first time, I hated it because I didn't really understand what was going on. And naturally, as a collector, it went on sale one day, and I was like, but it's the 4K, I have to have it. Yeah. So after I bought it and I watched it again, I really started kind of understanding what was going on. I'm not real sure, almost like an Alien, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I was about to say, it's more of a horror version instead of the hard sci-fi body snatcher.
It's like a body replacement thing.
But overall, really enjoyed it. And
a young Freddy Krueger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah, some of the stuff in that though,
hard to watch.
We were talking before we started filming this, Carl alluded to the net and the man being trapped in the net and being lit on fire and things like that. Like definitely some pretty gruesome imagery in it.
Gave me some heebies about needles for a long time.
Yes.
That eyeball. Anyway, as for my next film, I'm going with I keep wanting to say oldie, but a goodie. It's not old. Compared to my rest of my list, it's actually I think it's the newest one on the list. Or one of the newest ones on the list. Trick or Treat. The one with the little Sam kid that everybody has in their car as air freshener, or maybe you see him as
on a hat, a cartoon,
on a hat or on a window. Believe it or not, that's from a scary movie, a very scary movie. I might add. It's very well done. probably, I'm going to go out on a limb. I could be wrong. Y'all can check me on this if you want to, but I'm going to say it's probably the most successful anthology film
Probably.
I've ever seen, as far as to my knowledge. It is anyway.
The only one that I would have to think would even be close would be Creepshow, and I still think Trick or Treat is more successful than that because
Yes.
Creepshow only gained its following later on. But
Absolutely, yes. Very, very popular now, especially. I'd say it's more popular now than when it came out,
Oh,
which
for
is a shocker to me. But it's very good. I'm not going to go and sit here and lie to you and say it's super clean. I believe the werewolf scene has a lot of nudity in it.
I believe you're right.
Boobies.
Yeah, boobies. Yeah. But as far as language goes, it's relatively clean.
It's not horrible.
So if you can fast forward about, let's say 20 seconds to 30 seconds, you're good. But it's an excellent movie. Sam was an excellent character to focus on. They really knew what they were doing in that film, and I'm
Just creepy in its presentation.
It truly was. That costume is fantastic too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know why he's so popular. I mean, if anybody's like, "Oh, I don't know why Sam's so popular," look at that image and tell me it's
Featureless.
not creepy. You'd be lying. So, but anyway, that's where I feel about that. And what do you got to say about it?
I love it. It's a good movie. I thought it was very well. One of the things that I loved the most about it was the way it was filmed. I thought they had a lot of atmosphere to it that made it even scarier.
Was that Stacy Keach as the
Yeah.
old man? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember for sure. I just know it was a famous old guy that was the one that Sam was after. I couldn't remember who it was.
One day, someday.
Famous old guy. Okay, it's your turn.
My second one's going to be Gates of Hell or City of the Living Dead, however you know it by. I love that movie. I've been watching that since the day that it came out on VHS. I thought it was really well made. I thought it was very atmospheric and ambient. I liked the way it was filmed. Even on VHS, I thought it was filmed really cool. They did a lot of good things with lighting. The story got convoluted a little bit at times, but I thought ultimately that the ending of the movie was really well done. I appreciated it for taking you on a little ride there.
Can I ask a personal question of you two? Y'all
Yeah.
both have seen Gates of Hell, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know which one made your personal parts draw up in your body more. The scene with the drill to the head or the girl vomiting her guts up in the car?
The
Drill
girl,
to the
Because they
head.
both
Yeah.
they both drew me up pretty bad.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because the girl puking her guts and her heart and everything up, I thought that was. But now, having said that, when he reaches up behind him, he just rips the back of his skull out.
I think
But
both of them
when-
are very effective for what they were going
Yeah.
for.
But when he had poor Bob down on the drill press
Yeah.
talking about, you shouldn't have
Pretty rough.
messed with my daughter.
Yeah.
When I saw those scenes, I mean, my mouth was all the way to the floor, and it didn't pick up till the end of the film. I was like, because every time you think it's over,
Yeah.
they showed you something even more gruesome than what you just saw.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing, the whole premise of this movie is a priest hung himself. That right there tells you it's not going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, definitely not for the kids.
No. Praise the Lord.
My next one's going to be Happy Hell Night. So basically, a priest. These kids go missing, and a priest. Yeah, they're related.
Yeah, it's related.
I believe he's a priest. He is said that he is the one who committed the murder, so they lock him up in a asylum, and basically never gets out. So all these years later, when he does get out, he's just this pale, almost ghostly-like figure with these black circles for eyes. And it's just really atmospheric because this is a film that you think he's going to jump out now, and then he jumps out 10 seconds after you think he's going to. Completely throws you off. Your heart starts pacing. You prepare yourself for the jump, and then when he does it, you're like, okay, he didn't. And then you're like, because he jumps out immediately after. So it's a really good job at what it does. Darren McGavin. So
I don't think I've seen that one. I'll probably have to sit down.
it's pretty good. Not for kids though. Quite a bit of nudity. Big party scene there. But,
Hey, I definitely need to see it then. Okay.
so Happy Hell Night, I like it. I think Happy Hell Night's great.
And we're grown, so we can do boobies.
Yeah, we can do that. Boobies is right up our wheelhouse. We're all good. I'm next. Let's see. What's next on my list? Oh my goodness. This will make a lot of people happy. Sleepy Hollow is
Love
next
it.
on my list. That came out in 1999, back when Johnny Depp was still like, oh my God, it's Johnny Depp. You know,
My favorite Burton film.
yeah, but easily. Yeah, I mean, I actually like the Mars one too, but that right there tops it by easily. I love every part of this movie. The filming of it, man, Burton knew he was at the top of his game in this film, man. I mean,
You talk about atmosphere. I don't know that there's a film that's
That
better.
shows it better.
I don't know that there's
The
another
scene
film.
Think about
Hey, y'all-
the fog coming out that puts out, and then when his wife was spinning in the air and the leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gorgeous.
oh man, the scene that really like solidified that movie as like a true classic is whenever the girl's hiding with her daughter, I think it is, underneath the
house.
floor,
Mhm.
and he
And
comes
the head-
busting
yes.
through the door and walks through the room.
Yes.
That was so atmospheric. You're like on the edge of your seat, going, "Oh my God, is he going to find him?" And sure enough,
That came out in '99, so I would have been 5.
Yeah.
So imagine watching that and then the tree opening up and all his heads falling out.
Oh my God.
That movie scared me to death, but it is one I absolutely love that movie now. It
It's
is fantastic.
fantastic,
And you're
man.
right. You hit it right on the head. A great Halloween watch.
yes,
Yeah.
and as long as you can get past the overall theme of the movie, it's a clean movie. There's
It is,
no
yeah.
there's no
Yeah,
boobs. There's
no
absolutely no
yeah.
language in it. But now there is some gruesome decapitations in there now. But but other than that,
And honestly, the scariest part of the whole movie was when they were sitting around me when Johnny Depp first got to town, and the governor, the mayor, whoever the mayor was talking. He gave that speech about where the horsemen came from and the Hessian mercenary. That would, to this day, I can watch it. It still gives me chills. I
filled
love it.
with big actors. I mean,
Oh, huge, top to bottom.
but next.
Pumpkinhead, obviously.
Oh, God.
Love that movie. I thought Lance Henriksen was great in that movie.
Absolutely.
I thought his performance in it was way better than he'll ever be given credit for because it was a horror movie.
Every movie he's in, he's fantastic in. I defy anyone to tell me a bad movie or Lance Hendrick's bad performance. I don't want to hear it.
But
Put it in the comments, please.
We're friends with Brian Brimmer. So that's an automatic positive for us. We met him a few years ago at Scarefest. He's the sweetest human being I've ever met. You'd love him if you met him. And I thought the whole premise of the movie, I thought was great. I thought it was well executed. It was a kind of be careful what you wish for, just might get it kind of thing. And I thought there were, you don't want all your films to be pushing some agenda or moral or whatever, but it did. It's be careful what you wish for, you just might get it kind of thing.
Well,
And another ultra clean one too.
Very
no,
clean.
no nudity,
No sex, no nudity, very little language.
almost all of the damage done in the movie. Now, mind you, there are some gruesome
There's some
deaths.
gruesome kills.
But I mean, for the most part, most of the damage is done to the creature. Which
Yeah.
I don't feel any remorse for in
Zero.
the first place.
No.
Very good movie, and like you said,
and even the
has-
deaths were not that horrible.
No.
None of the. I mean, there were a few. You had some blood, but it wasn't just blood and gore splatters.
No, not at all.
Truly, for the most part of that movie, I mean, the whole point of the movie is the revenge.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I mean, and the point you the
Avenging the loved one.
yes, and man, it
Kinda like
drives it home good. I cried when that boy. Oh my God, I ain't gonna give away nothing. But if you hadn't seen it, this grown man cried. I'll be the first to admit it, and that's all I'm gonna say about it.
We'll go from that one, and I don't think this is the only Stephen King film on this list, but my pick is Graveyard Shift. Another one. It's got some language, got some blood and stuff, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. It's not F-bombs every other word, and to my knowledge, no nudity. I don't believe it. I don't remember
No,
any
there's
nudity
no
in this one
movie because it's
whatsoever.
set in a factory.
Yeah, so this one is extremely atmospheric with all the big rats and stuff
Yes,
in the basement at night. Overall, really enjoyed that one. One of my favorite Stephen King movies. I'm not going to say my favorite, but really good, very atmospheric, and a great Halloween watch for sure.
I have a question for you.
What was that?
And as you said, I mean, I don't think I'm giving away anything to say that this does deal with rats.
Yes.
There have been several other rat-based films. Is this your favorite rat film?
Yeah, probably.
Is that right?
Yeah, probably.
Get Beats Ben and
Willard.
I don't like Ben or Willard.
Really?
I really don't.
I like
I'm
Willard.
shocked.
I like Willard.
I learned something new about these two every day.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm more into scarecrows and clowns
I got
and
you.
rats.
I got you, yeah.
But I think Graveyard Shift really has that appeal because it's a Stephen King
Yeah,
movie, really.
sure.
But I mean, I'm not a real big rat fan. So.
Unless we're talking.
I like Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yes,
Turtles.
yes.
I mean,
He's a talking rat, so I mean, you got something there.
he likes pizza.
And doesn't like
He's a
pizza.
ninja rat.
He doesn't like it as much as the turtles. Okay, we're getting off on the whole Ninja Turtle thing here.
Yeah.
We gotta move on.
Donatello, what's your next movie?
Let's see. Y'all made me lose my place. Where am I at?
You were Sleepy Hollow.
I was at Sleepy Hollow. Now I'm ready for Night of the Demons. Night of the Demons by far is not my favorite on this list. It's mainly notable for having
Linnea Quigley.
I almost got it mixed up with another movie. It does have Linnea Quigley. I really liked the movie. It was really one of my first, other than The Exorcist, it was really one of my first forays into possession movies.
Which I do not like.
I know that he's not a huge fan of them. Typically speaking, I mean, nobody wants to see anybody get possessed, but I mean, I like a good, scary possession movie if it's done well.
If it's done well, yeah.
Yeah. This one right here, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it was done really well. It wasn't. It has
an 80s.
There's
horror.
a difference between Night of the Demons done well, though, and Exorcist done well. Night of the Demons is meant to be campy. It's you turn into a demon instead of Reagan in The Exorcist, who was meant to scare and like. If I had to say, if I had to pick one over the other, I'd pick Night of the Demons over Exorcist all day, every day, just because of the form of possession.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and I'll tell you this, just so everybody knows. I have watched The Exorcist. I've owned it for 30 years.
I bet you I've watched it twice.
I've watched it twice.
Yep.
Night of the Demons, I've watched a minimum of 10 times.
The Exorcist is one of those, to me, it scares a lot of people, but I find it ultra boring.
It is very boring.
Until the part, of course, where Reagan is in the bed and her head spins and she,
the subject matter is what gets you because it's taken so uber seriously.
Yeah, but it's almost for me. And again, maybe it's because I'm a little, I'm younger, and that's a kind of an older film. But like to me, I'm just like this thing is boring.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Yeah,
But anyway, that wasn't even on the list. That wasn't even what you were speaking. That wasn't what you were speaking of. You were speaking of Night of the Demons. My apologies.
it was related. We'll go with it. Okay. Anyway, that is on my list. I enjoyed it, and I did want to make sure to point out to y'all because I'm a little bit of a pervert, not a bad pervert, but Linnea Quigley does do some interesting stuff with some lipstick. And I highly recommend you watch it, at least for that, if nothing else. Sir?
Phantasm. I love it. It's Eric will tell you I'm obsessed with the movie.
Yeah.
I bought everything I bought at this last convention. I tried to get all Phantasm, and it's really cool because we got to meet all the surviving cast. And I haven't seen Reggie Bannister in 25 years, and honestly got a little emotional because I thought I'd never see him again. With his health scares, his falls and everything. And it just was the first movie I can remember that the atmospheric way they filmed it was as big a part of the movie as any of the cast. Mm-hmm. It really was. The fact that they made that ultra scary mausoleum out of cardboard and freaking contact paper was amazing to me. And I love the characters. I love the way they played the characters. It got a little convoluted as the series went along, but it didn't matter. Phantasm, to me, I absolutely love. It was almost like an indie horror film.
Phantasm is an all-time classic.
Absolutely.
My next one goes with my love for scarecrows, and it will be Husk. So this is from the After Dark Film Festival series that they put out. And to me, honestly, I haven't seen all of those that they put out, but this is, from what I've seen, this is my favorite one. Husk was actually, I remember watching this when it premiered on Sci-Fi back in the day, as Sci-Fi used to have some fantastic horror movies around the year. It really sucks that teenagers and adults today, they don't really have that sci-fi anymore.
No, I agree.
Sci-fi does still play some horror. I think Carl was talking about that a little earlier today. They do still play some horror, but it's not the same. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, you would go to Sci-Fi on Halloween and you would see H2O, you would see Castle Freak, you would see Husk, and now it's like, we'll play Sharknado. And while I'm not digging on Sharknado. I mean,
It's not hard.
It's really not. That was a movie that was like, we're going to make a dumb movie to make people laugh and put as many cameos in it as we can, and we're going to center it around something that's horror-esque, and that's sharks, because Jaws made sharks scary.
Well, they were famous for doing that before it. You know, you're talking about made-up creatures. There's a shark. Here's an octopus. Let's smash them together and let's see what happens.
Sharktopus. There was Piranaconda. Those were.
The lost point of all that right there is that sci-fi doesn't even do that anymore. If you go on that, they don't produce their own movies anymore. And at one time they had their own production company where they were doing Sharknado. They were doing the movie. They did a movie a week.
Yeah, and they did some good ones. They were so much fun to watch.
One of the last movies I remember sci-fi having their hand in is probably Leprechaun. With the newest Leprechaun that they did, but that was still at this point 6-7 years ago, if not more. I mean, it could be more. I don't even know. Was it Leprechaun Returns? I think was the name of it. It didn't even. It had the Leprechaun look completely different.
I don't think it had Warwick Davis.
No, it didn't.
So,
and on top of that, the last, and I'm sure you would disagree with this, but the last good horror themed thing that they've had a hand in or done themselves is the Chucky series.
Yeah.
That actually got good ratings. I think it was the highest rated thing on
Did they even play that on Sci-Fi? I thought that came on USA.
I thought
it is USA.
I thought it
was
came
USA.
Was it USA?
But I'm not saying Sci-Fi.
No, you're right.
No,
you're right. Well, they're all owned by the same company.
Yeah.
USA is owned by Sci-Fi is owned by USA, who is also then in turn owned by Universal Pictures. And and the list goes on and on there. But anyway, I did not know that Sci-Fi did not air that. I thought that it was on Sci-Fi.
I think it's USA.
And that show's been canceled. Now, I really liked it. Of course, I did only see season 1, and
I think got to season 3, wasn't it?
It did, yeah. I mean, I understand why it got canceled with the subject matter that they turned it into, which we won't get into here because that's not our place. Whether you're for it or against it doesn't really matter. We're not here to speak on that on this channel, but I think that really killed it, because when you put the subject matter and the themes, I think we know what I'm talking about. When they put that in the show and they kind of changed Chucky into it being that, I think it really drove that series down. Just because I feel like a lot of people wanted to watch a Chucky series without that being shoved down their throats in the way that it was. So
from what I hear,
and
like I haven't watched it, so I don't know, but from what I hear, they kind of took a lot of fun.
They did, because that's 90% of the show.
Yeah, just real dark. I never watched it.
It's not dark. It is the
just the overall
LGBTQ really more so than anything.
Okay.
The same-sex couples in it and stuff. I mean, pretty much every couple in the show wound up at the end kind of being that. And Chucky made kind of some puns and stuff about stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and like that's the style that they went for, which is fine. I mean, I'm all if that's what you want to watch and all you want that to have a place, I understand it. But I just feel like when you take Chucky, who was kind of
sarcastic and hateful,
he was kind of sarcastic and hateful and kind of an icon of the 90s, and then you put him with this trying to make puns and trying to kind of turn a eye on it. I mean, it wasn't really insensitive. I think they were trying to use Chucky as, for lack of a better term, a scapegoat to like turn an eye to this being a part of our society now, and the whole show revolved around that, and it really drug it down. It did,
sure
yes,
did,
and so especially like as you got on over into season 2 and 3, it's so
that's a shame. Is it my turn?
It is your turn. Yes,
really?
We're talking about sci-fi. It's your turn. Yep.
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy. Anyway,
my turn.
My turn again. Silver Bullet is my next one, and they're all jealous because they ain't got it on theirs.
Yeah, cannot lie.
Without a doubt, I think it's safe to say that Silver Bullet is one of the best werewolf movies ever made, at least in my opinion. There's a couple that I'd say outdo it.
It's top 3.
Yeah, for me it's top 3. You got American Werewolf in London, and you got The Howling. Of course, I've said previously on this channel that The Howling is my favorite. The Howling for me is a top 10 movie, whereas the other two, while excellent movies, they're just not as good as The Howling. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. Sleepaway. I almost said Sleepaway Camp. Anyway, Silver Bullet. is great. It has great performances in it. If you go through there, that cast was stacked pretty well. Gary Busey before he went crazy. I mean, you know, Corey Haim and I mean, there's a lot of good actors in there. One of my, I think we were discussing this a few days ago. The preacher in it is fantastic. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy's name.
Creepy as crap.
Gillis, I think is his name, or something like that. I don't remember. But he's been in several other movies, The People Under the Stairs, and he always plays menacing so well. And they say in real life he's just a big puppy dog. I don't know, but it seems like that's always the case in these movies, though. Like the big head in all of them is just the nicest dude when he's not in the camera, you know. So I don't know. But that movie is fantastic. It deals with some very pertinent themes, I think, especially today. And a clean movie overall. It's got a lot of blood in it, but there's not a boob hanging out to be seen.
There's no sex.
I don't think there's any language at all in that movie.
Just a couple of times this small, like he said shit.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But long before, and I'll quit talking about it after this. But long before, what's his face on Walking Dead had his Lucille, there was the guy with the baseball bat behind the bar. The Peacemaker is what he called that bad boy.
Yeah. His wasn't wrapped in barbed wire.
It was not wrapped in barbed wire. That's true. It did not have barbed wire on it. All right, I'm going to yield the floor.
Motel Hell.
Ah, yeah.
Because you can't beat Farmer Vincent's meat, period. This is the craziest, campiest thing you've ever seen. The whole thing that made me drawn, that drew me to it, it was on TV one night when I was a kid. It was on HBO. And just how the lead character, Farmer Vincent, played everything so straight. And it was never straight. It was never serious. You know, it's not clean because there's this whole BDSM thing. 10 minutes, 15 minutes into whips and all kinds of things. The kills were silly, but they were fun.
The pig head with a chainsaw
is
iconic
chainsaw.
for that.
It's one of the first movies to attempt horror and comedy mixed together.
It really was.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's the first by any means, but it's pretty high up there on
probably one of the first mainstream that did it to the level that they did.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it was funny. I mean, some of the little sayings they had in there, it was just like, meat's meat, man's got to eat. Yeah, it's just that all the way through the movie. It was fun, it was scary, and it was kind of like a little deviant kind of movie to watch. So I loved it.
My next one from Dread Central will be Candy Corn. Basically, kid gets bullied and he winds up dying and comes back and seeks revenge against those who wronged him. So kind of takes place in a circus, or doesn't kind of, it does. Takes place in a circus. Very good Halloween film. Really enjoy it. Candy Corn.
I actually really like Candy Corn. I think it's well done, considering that it's a borderline independent film.
Yeah. I mean, Candy Corn, you know, I mean, they gave and I can't remember the guy's name. I haven't seen this movie but once or twice, and it's been a pretty good while ago. Probably last year at Halloween. But, you know, he actually got like his own figure from the Trick or Treat studio lines, you know, and stuff. So, I mean, he's not as big as someone else that we'll talk about on this list, but he definitely made a name for himself and is definitely iconic in his own right. So,
it seems like it gets back to me very quickly. Am I just talking really long? Is that what it is? Anyway, okay. My next film is one that these two, I'm pretty sure, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, haven't seen. It's really new, so I know this one hadn't seen it because he doesn't like new horror. He likes the old stuff, like me. Anyway, this one came out in 2023. Late Night with the Devil.
I do want to see that.
Yeah, I have a copy coming, but it's not here yet.
It's just to give y'all a brief idea of what it's about. Thank Johnny Carson, except for he's really bad at his job. He doesn't do very well in the ratings. He's always consistently behind. They actually preface Johnny in the movie and all that kind of stuff. And so he decides to do some things for shock value on his film on Halloween night, and it goes horribly wrong. And I'm not going to give any more away than that because I really feel like everybody should experience that movie. It's dark, just to let you know in advance. There is no nudity. There is no cussing because it's supposed to be being played, for the public. So nobody cusses on it.
Late night TV.
But boy, that subject matter is dark. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you should let your kids watch it because it's scary stuff. I'm just going to tell you.
I've heard that's a lot of people's one of their favorite movies of the year.
Yes.
It's kind of a toss up between that and what is it? Good God!
Oh my gosh! If you hadn't, no.
In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature. Good God! I'm sorry. In a Violent Nature. And then I know another one that's been kind of creeping up here right at the end of the year has been. I think it's Substance. It's like a body horror film.
Yes.
So I know those are kind of people's top picks for the year so far. I don't really see anything else beating them out.
Well,
but
both of the ones you mentioned were made by Shudder's parent company, and they're both being shown on Shudder right now.
Yeah, I know Dead Pit said Substance was.
Oh yeah, they loved it. They loved it. Body horror, kind of like body melt stuff like that. So
I felt like it was probably in the same vein as the stuff.
Yeah, the stuff
like that.
and, yeah.
But anyway, next up.
Madman. I love the movie. When I first saw it, I remember watching it with my late wife. We watched on VHS, and it's 8 o'clock at night. It's dark, and it scared the hell out of us. It was just this weird, random movie. It was one of the ones where we had a little rental store in Paducah that was also the Curtis Mathis TV dealer. So you were at the helm. There was one guy, and when he found out kids would come in and rent those movies without their parents' consent, and they let us, they went literally from 10 horror titles to a store full of it and very few straight movies. And we got to see a bunch of gems, and I loved this one. I thought it was really cool. I thought the backstory of why he was what he was and everything was great. And you got to watch it for the stupidest hot tub scene ever seen in a movie. It just had to turn it off and laugh to get through it.
I don't know, like I said, the thing about that is that you had goofy stuff going on inside.
And serious on the outside.
And then on the outside, you see the killer walking by the window and then grabs an axe that's supposed to be in wood for 25 years. Yeah. And that was super creepy for me because, they had talked about that axe for 15 minutes. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It's okay, this thing is supposed to be in this wood forever. And he just goes by there and rips it right out. And I'm like, oh, that was creepy.
Yeah. Madman really was a character. He could have spawned his own series.
I thought he was going to.
He only got the one movie, which is kind of sad.
I never understood that. He could have went for a franchise.
Easily.
Yeah.
But it also hit its mark for a one and done too.
Yeah.
It didn't leave any answers or any questions really unanswered or anything like that. So, my next one is Bad Candy. This is another one from Dread, much like Candy Corn. Mm-hmm. So Bad Candy stars, I cannot talk, Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and basically he is a radio DJ and he is telling horror stories, so it's an anthology on Halloween night to try and scare his viewers. Overall, really good. I enjoy Bad Candy for what it is. It's another one, much like Candy Corn, was kind of an independent film. Had a bigger budget than I think what people would consider independent, but also less of a budget than your Late Night with the Devil and stuff like that. So kind of somewhere in the middle there, but decent Blu-ray release and definitely one that's worth checking out on Halloween.
It's a very good movie. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Next up for me is one that I know is on Carl's top 10 list, and it's on mine as well. Probably Justin's as well, is The Crow.
Love it.
1994 release. God, this movie had it all. Some people would argue it's not a horror movie. He's dead, and he's brought back to life, and he kills people. So I'd say that qualifies.
Yeah, it's revenge. It's all about coming back to avenge the person you love.
Yes, and excellent movie. It would have, for sure, without a question, made Brandon Lee a huge star. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that, but there's no doubt in my mind it would have made him very big. Everybody in that movie was excellent, and
top dollar.
It's just a shame of when it ended up happening. But if you haven't seen it, go out and see it. Next up, sir.
The Fog. I love The Fog. Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis. Mm-hmm. It struck a nerve with me. It really, it was creepy, it was eerie. There wasn't a whole lot of overt blood and gore. There were some kills, but they were very subtle and well done. It was just the ambience, the fog rolling in the dark, the way it did. The fact that the fog was an actual entity of the movie. You know, Blake and his men. It was just, I thought it was a well done movie. I loved the story, and I loved the ending of the movie.
The Fog, definitely a classic.
Yep.
So, probably one of my favorite movies out of my entire stack is going to be The Monster Squad.
That's all of one of our favorite movies. We all love that movie.
1987 right here. This one is great. It's Dracula, Wolfman, all your Universal monsters basically in one film. And definitely one that if you get home from trick-or-treating and the kids are hyped up on candy and you want to watch a movie together, you can definitely be rest assured that you can watch The Monster Squad. It doesn't have anything in it, a few cuss words here, there, and yonder, but nothing real bad. The main thing you got to make sure of is that you don't send the kids to school saying Wolfman's got nards. But as long as you're free from that, you're good to go. But Monster Squad, absolute classic, and definitely one that stays in the rotation every single Halloween.
It's the Goonies meet the Universal Monsters. That's what it was.
Yeah. Easily, yeah.
But it's an excellent movie. I love that movie. Next one on my list is something everybody, I'll bet you, everybody that's watching this podcast is familiar with. I know these two are, and that's Terrifier.
Pop culture icon.
Yes, he has transcended independent film. I think it's safe to say at this point, and has become a mainstream monster that people are terrified of.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing, and I won't get into too far depth about it, but it's truly amazing what they have managed to make out of really not much.
Yeah.
And I don't know who to put most of that praise on. You know, to be honest with you, I've thought about it for days now. Who are you going to say? You know, is it David Howard Thornton's performance? Is that why he's huge now? I don't know. Is it your Damien Leone, the way he directed and the way he did the special effects? Because he did both.
I will say this.
I don't know.
Have either one of y'all seen 3?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm not going to give anything away, but I will say this. I'm not a big fan of the movie, and I'll tell you why after everybody's had a chance to see it. I loved it in a lot of ways, but I will say this. David Howard Thornton has evolved art to an art form. It is I can't even explain. He made me so uncomfortable watching Terrifier 3. It was unreal. That's why he's a pop culture icon. He absolutely nailed it. You couldn't have asked for a better performance from anyone. It was perfect. It's a hell of a ride.
I have had people tell me that art came along at the right time.
Yeah.
People were starved for something.
We needed
They needed another monster.
Gore.
You know there's Jason's not being made right now. There's no more Freddy.
I mean, we get Terrifier, and for every one Terrifier, you get 50 PG-13 horror films that are the teens in the haunted house with the vampire, and there's very little blood, and they're like, oh no. I mean, like that's literally 90% of what we get. So you get something like a Terrifier, and it's gonna catch like hot fire because people are ready for something different. People are ready for
some
horror.
Blood and gore.
People are ready for horror films to start treating them like adults again instead of.
I mean, this candy coated Twilight.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a movie that they're turning people away at the doors because it has a hard R rating because of the subject matter. Like the last time that happened was I couldn't tell you when because everything that comes along is PG-13 or it's a soft enough R that people are like, oh okay, we'll let you slide.
Sure.
So definitely, I mean, it's like you said, it's time. It's time to have something like this.
I agree.
And I'm glad it was Damien Leone that did it.
Yeah, and a little funny thing for you guys, if y'all wanted to know, as far as the child to adult rating, there is no nudity that I'm aware of in any of the Terrifier films. Besides skimming, I mean, if you want to go that route.
She's hung upside down.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's like the biggest scene.
Yeah,
the bedroom in the second one.
But see, she was skinned at that point.
Yeah, but it was.
Oh, well, they were okay. Well, anyway,
And then the third one's like
There's
two shower scenes.
There's no vulgarity in the movie.
No, there's
No, because Art doesn't talk.
But, but having said all
Damn
that,
good thing he doesn't.
for having said all that, do not take your children to see this. Don't even let them look at the theater that it's in.
No.
Okay, because it's rough. Okay.
In this third one, they do things in this third one that just make you doubt that humanity's going to survive us.
All right, we've covered Art now.
All right, Basket Case. I love this movie.
Frankenwater.
Yep, it's a weird one. It's about a set of twins. One's a parasitic blob, but twins are twins. And I love Belial. I bought me a little baby Belial to put on my bookcase. It's the weirdest movie you've ever seen. It's the most fun you'll ever have. I remember seeing it on VHS when it first came out and sitting at home. I watched it the first time and I was like, what the hell did I just watch? And so I gave it a day or two and went back and watched it again and loved it. I've loved it ever since. I've watched it a couple of times a year since I was probably 18.
One of my biggest things, I watched this movie, but before I had watched this, I had watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated series, and I was like, why the hell is Krang in this film? And he's like a monster.
He does look like
that's
it.
what he is.
Yeah.
So anyways, so mine right here, that's 2 Ninja Turtle references in this video.
Yes,
What are we
I'm
doing?
telling you, you're on a roll.
So my next one is a 2-for-1 indie film, The Barn. And then, of course, you can't have The Barn without The Barn Part 2. So these films, independent, very good, gory, very good storyline for both of them. Several cameos in Ari Lehman and Linnea Quigley. And just overall really good. They are crowdfunding Part 3 right now. So hopefully by 2025 it'll be out in time for Halloween. Hopefully. I don't know where they are in the filming process to have their crowdfunding going or if they've filmed any at all. But really good right here. These came out, or at least Part 1 came out right around the time Family Video was really big, right before they filed bankruptcy and went out. So like your last real big video rental store. So a lot of people may have seen that one, but I feel like it falls through the cracks again when put up against some of your other more notable Halloween watches. So definitely recommend both of those.
You convinced me. I'm going to go home and watch it tonight.
They're good. I mean, I like them.
It's sitting there. It's ready. I'm ready to watch it. I just hadn't had time. And
Yeah,
we're going to make time tonight, I do believe. The next one on my list is something that most of y'all probably aren't familiar with. I think you two have seen it.
Yeah.
But it is fairly obscure, I dare say, called Hellfest. It's made in 2018. It's on the verge of being independent, but not quite independent. It probably had a couple $1 million budget. It's kind of a meta movie, kind of like Cabin in the Woods was, where you think you know what's going on, but you really don't know what's going on. And then the more you watch the movie, you're like, oh, okay. And then at the end of it, you're like, no,
Nothing
totally wrong.
I thought.
I don't know what is going on again. So it's a good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was well made, considering the budget they had to work with. But it's a good movie. I highly recommend you watch it.
It's one that kind of got lost through the cracks, I think, because Bloodfest came out before it. And Bloodfest was just one of those another like teen, kind of thing.
Really,
and I feel like when it came out and everybody saw it, it kind of burned them. And then when Hellfest came out, they were like, "Oh, it's the same thing." It's not. It's completely different.
Totally different.
I think a lot of people have kind of let that one fall through the cracks.
I
But
agree.
it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. What you got for us, Carl?
Sleepaway Camp. Woo! I love it. I've loved it since the first time I saw it.
Not a kid-friendly movie.
Not a kid-friendly movie at all. There's a winky viewing that we don't need to talk about. I remember watching that movie when I was like 18 years old, and I got to the end of it and went, what in the hell have I bought? And I died. It was great. It just... I can remember the
I don't know
people.
what I would call the winky viewing.
I
It was.
haven't heard it called that before.
Oh, let me tell you, if you'd just been there, the people. I remember the people that I watched this movie with to this day. And Kevin Robertson, if you ever see this, you fat bastard, I'm sorry. He looked up and said, Did she have a wiener? I said, yes, she did. And that was all we said. We walked out. We never talked about it again amongst us.
I highly suggest that we change our rating system into how many Winkies we get.
Winkies are cool.
I can give that a 7 out of 10 Winkies.
There it is. It's a disaster piece. Not kid friendly. There's a lot of language in this movie.
There's a movie or two too.
And there's some but the thing is the language is rough for a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 14, 15, 16-year-old kids with some rough language. The kills are really good in it. There's one in particular at the beginning of the movie. It's just brutal. Mm-hmm. But it's been a favorite of mine for 40 years. Which I guess dates me.
Oh man, I'm never going to get over the Winky. Okay.
My next one is Slaughterhouse with Buddy. So basically, guy wants to buy this land that has a slaughterhouse on it. It is owned by Buddy's father. He says no. He tells Buddy basically, you kill anyone who comes around here. And that's basically the plot of the movie. Buddy just has a meat cleaver and he kills all these people. What makes it a Halloween watch for me every year is two things. One of the first movies I remember watching with my dad. So kind of sentimental in that respect. But the other thing is it's a slow movie. All the kills kind of come clustered. But just the way that it takes place in a slaughterhouse, and they use every bit of the slaughterhouse. They have the actual parts in the slaughterhouse where they take the pigs and like they take the skin and the hair off in the big tunnel. That is used. They use the meat hooks. They use anything that is used to in a slaughterhouse for pigs is put to use in this film. And just like I said, very atmospheric. And I mean, a dark slaughterhouse at night. That's what haunted houses are made out of. So very kind of atmospheric, especially for a Halloween film. Even though it's not a Halloween film, I consider it one. So
the last movie on my list is Hell Night. It's by far not the best movie on this list, but it's a good movie. I really enjoy it. That's why I put it on the list. I get them confused sometimes, so Carl has to correct me or Justin does. It's the Linda Blair version because, like I said, for some reason I don't know what it is. Night of the Demons and Hell Night are interchangeable for me. I guess because they both are a party and take place in a haunted
environment.
Area. Yeah, maybe I don't know what it is.
And both have the word night.
I can remember, and I'm probably sharing too much. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm going to say it anyway. I can remember the first time I watched that movie. Thinking, oh, I'm finally going to get to see Linda Blair's boobs.
No.
You don't. Everybody else shows their boobs, but she doesn't. It's a good movie. It's rather scary, and at parts.
It's pretty solid.
It's a solid movie.
It's one of my favorites as well. Yeah,
I enjoyed it for what it was. There's a whole backstory there that I really didn't follow very well. I know there's supposed to be like
Garth Manor and all the Garth.
Something about twins or family members that were left in the house, and that's who's
whole bunch of deaths because they couldn't have normal children. They were all born.
Watch it for the atmosphere. The filming was good. Blair was good.
A lot of 70s, 80s actors that you will know from TV were in it.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Good movie overall. What you got?
I'm actually going to go with the Romero Dawn of the Dead. I changed it at the last minute. I love that movie. I actually even like the polarizing Everybody Hates remake from 04, 06.
Both were excellent movies.
They're both good movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I know everybody says that Romero had his little, this one was about consumerism, whatever. Just the idea that 3 people can hole up in a mall, hold off a zombie horde, just cracks me up. And it's...
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big apocalypse person anyway. I love apocalypse movies. I don't know why.
I think because we want to see if we can survive the end of the world. Shit, I know I want to try.
I don't know.
Well, you got to check out, if you've never seen it, you got to check out Dead Air for apocalypse movie.
Really? I'll have to try that,
Yeah, it's a great film.
Dead Air.
Yeah, but it was...
Side note.
It just, I don't know, it was just a fun movie. Savini was in there with all his craziness. The effects were good. There's plenty of blood. The zombies were legit zombies. And hell, the movie's iconic for the helicopter zombie cut. So, I mean,
yeah.
you know.
Tom Savini's a genius when it comes to that
is.
stuff, man. He came up with stuff before there was anything to be made up, man. I mean,
he's the reason I did the stuff I did in Mothershucker.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a fan favorite. It's a favorite of mine. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I appreciate the original 79 more. Is it a lot less to work with. Mm-hmm. But the 04 or whatever it was remake
no, you're right, it's 2000.
with Sarah Polley and Ving Rhames. I really enjoyed that, but I did not enjoy the fast zombie thing.
See, I like that because it gave you something new.
It was
instead of they're in a mall. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, they're in a mall, but they can freaking move.
Yeah, those new zombies can get around. Well, that's it for me.
All right, my last one on the list, and then we'll wrap this episode up, is Haunted Ween. So
there's another ween.
Basically, Haunted Ween is a little girl winds up getting killed in a haunted house. And so the boy, I can't remember if it's her brother or not, but anyways, he escapes, leaves town with his mother until the day when his mother winds up passing away. He goes back to town. He's going to go back to his family home. And when he does, he finds that there's a fraternity there running a haunted house for money to help fund their fraternity. So he starts killing them off one by one, and everybody just thinks it's part of the haunted house. So it's a 1991 film. A lot of people had said for years that they wanted it on Blu-ray. Yeah. It finally came out with Vinegar Syndrome in a box set. So I wanted to see what everybody thought, was talking about when they talked about this film, and I've actually watched this movie twice since I got it, which is rare because usually I'm doing good to watch a movie once and put it on the shelf.
I've never seen it, so I just don't know.
Definitely, I mean, I liked it. Definitely one that I thought was
well.
good.
The real question is, how many wings would you give it?
I'd give it 8 wings.
8 wings? Okay, man, that's a lot of wings. All right.
I don't know if it has.
We're
any
up to
wings.
15 wings.
I don't know if it has any wings in it or not. I can't remember. I don't think it does. Anyways, so we'll go ahead and end this episode here. Cut down on the timing a little bit. We appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this special Halloween edition of Welcome to Horrorland. Make sure that you follow all the links down below and follow our Instagram, our Facebook, and our TikTok. Make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so that you guys know every time that we post a new video. Make sure that if you guys have a video that you would like to see us talk about or a topic you would like to see us discuss, drop that in the comments down below so that we can talk about it. Also, that other link, what is that other link? It's going to be to buy your copy of Mothershucker. So, it is horrorlandmedia.square.site. Just click on that link down below. It'll take you there. We have Blu-rays available. We also have Mothershucker t-shirts along with Horrorland Media t-shirts that you can purchase as well. So, support independent horror. Even if you don't support us, support your David Sterlings, your David Carrs, your Donald Farmers, your Tim Ritters, your SRS Cinemas as a whole company. Support those kinds of people because really and truly it's those innovative ideas that keep the horror genre alive. There's only so many Damien Leones and Wes Cravens in the world. There
could be us next.
It could be. It takes new and innovative ideas, and without people, not just us, without anybody that makes a movie having an idea and putting it to a disc or putting it out there for people to see, the genre doesn't survive. So even if you're not supporting us, although we really hope you do, support your independent filmmakers. Whoever that may be. So again, follow that link. It is horrorlandmedia.square.site and get you a copy of Mothershucker. We will return next week. Lee will return next week with me and kick my ass as we go over my 3 big boxes of media that I bought in the month of October. So I do look forward to doing that. These goons will return with me in a couple of weeks as we go over, I believe that episode will be our box sets. I believe.
Because we're fancy.
Yeah, so we'll go over some of our favorite box sets in our collection, show some of those off, and tell you where you can get them. So as always, guys, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Welcome to Horrorland.
Don't shut this up.